Okay. So you guys should be able to see my video and my screen with the slides. And we'll just wait another minute or two here to get started. So on the call today from Arcsource, the 4 hosts that you'll see of the videos, we have myself, Dave Monk from Arcsource, David Eschker from Arcsource, and Rohit Arora from Arcsource. Also our awesome host, the AIA San Francisco chapter, and Carson Maraca. He is the person that coordinates educational programs for AIA SF. Okay. So. All right, so why don't we go ahead and get started, everybody. Welcome again. My name is Dave. I'm the CEO of Arcsource. We're doing a 5-part webinar series starting today. The first one's called Mastering Work at Home for Architects. That's kind of the theme or point of departure for all 5, but since today is May 1st, welcome to the second third of the year. And in the month of May, we're going to have 5 of these webinars. I want to first say thank you to the AIA SF sustaining sponsors. This slide is some of these great companies and firms. Basically, because the AIA San Francisco office is closed, if we were doing a lunch and learn for this instead of a webinar, we'd gather in their space and we would get to engage with some of these sponsors. But I just wanted to give a special recognition and shout out to these gold, silver, bronze, and copper level sponsors for AIA San Francisco. They help make this program and all the programs of AIA SF possible. Okay. So this is the topics that we're going to be covering over the next 5 weeks. I could probably talk for 3 hours on each of these topics, and so today is going to be quite wide-ranging, but focused on work at home. Next week, we're going to talk about cybersecurity for architects, and there's a bunch of general concepts there, as well as some architecture-specific concepts, and also some work at home security issues. We're also going to talk about, on May 13th, optimizing CAD BIM for remote work. And 21st, we're going to cover cloud technologies and project management tools for architects. And then May 27th, before the end of the month, we're going to cover disaster planning for architects, okay? And we set up a website called learn.arcsource.com if you want to get more info or sign up. You can also sign up directly on the AIA San Francisco events page. Okay, so at this point, we're going to launch a quick poll for you guys. It's really helpful for us, even as I speak on the fly, to know a little bit about the audience. I know there's a few of my clients in here, but a lot more folks that are not current Arcsource clients. So I'd like to have you just fill out the poll question for your firm size really quick. And then also let us know how often you were working at home before the COVID-19 situation. And then we'd like to cover which CAD BIM tool you're using, so that we might focus a little bit on the audience. So far, it's looking about a perfect third alignment of the attendees, some small firms, medium firms, and larger firms. Also, we're curious what email platform you use. So I think, Rohit, you can just jump through those as we go, and move to the next
okay,
one.
So we have the firm size, yes.
Yeah. So you can move on from the firm size one and go to the next one, and then I'm going to move on with my slides. So, okay, so I want to tell you a little bit, very briefly, about my company, Arcsource. This is some of my team. All of us are working remotely from home. We have a selfie of a cat there, who is one of our more bashful employees, but we're a team of about 20 professionals and serving our clients. Also want to share with you that we're based in Berkeley, but we work in San Francisco, East Bay, and Marin. And we really work at that intersection of architecture and technology. I've been doing, education speaking sessions and continuing education at AIA San Francisco since 2006, for quite a long time. It's one of my favorite things to do to serve this community. And we've also served over 300 design firms in the last 20 years in business. So proud of our client base. We've also helped 800 people learn to work remotely in the last 6+ weeks. So our real mission is to just empower architects with best-in-class technology to help them make great buildings. We take care of everything IT so you can focus on your work. And we also kind of offer a complete IT transformation process from wherever you're at to wherever you need to get in terms of world-class and awesomeness. And lastly, we like to help new design firms launch out strong with great technology. I've talked to 6 people in the last month that are going to be starting up new architecture firms here in the next part of this year. So that's pretty cool. Myself, background in architecture and education. I pivoted to IT 22 years ago. I used to work at Turnbull Griffin Hoslip, but I really do love architecture and technology. I love business and security and cybersecurity, and I've been a part of the AIA for a long time. Rohit Arora is another one of the Arcsource team. He's been doing CAD BIM consulting with Arcsource for over 10 years. And he's worked in several large design firms as well as different software companies. And he's going to be available to answer questions. And in light of that, I would say, if you have questions as we're going along, type them in the chat or the question bar, and then we'll be happy to cover those as we go or at the end. I think I have about 40 minutes of slides to go through, and then about 20 minutes of question and answer. We can certainly linger a little bit for more questions. But I like to start every talk that I do with a little bit of context, in which is one of the things that we do the most is look at the trends in IT for architects and the issues that architecture firms face technology-wise. And really what's happened here is this big kind of interruption that we've seen with the COVID-19 arrival. So I'm not going to talk about trends very much today, but I do want to acknowledge that, this is kind of a big break and disjuncture for us all. Certainly it's affecting all of our aspects of life, a lot of fear that I've seen giving way to some optimism. All of us have had to insert work at home if we weren't already doing that at some point. A lot of projects have been disrupted. And also, we've had to invent totally new workflows for my firm as well as for all of my clients. Thankfully, the news, I guess 2 days ago, was that construction gets to resume in the Bay Area. So I think that's good for every architect and us affiliated businesses. Also, I think that this COVID-19 situation has created a lot of interesting and positive opportunities. A lot of them of necessity. Just even for myself, I've discovered, my own limits and likes related to work and task management and focus and how long I can sit at a desk without having to drive to work anymore. New skills of necessity that I think are going to endure beyond the COVID-19 situation. There's a lot of new tools, and that's kind of what we're going to be talking about today, is how some of these tools that we're going to be recommending for architects can really have lasting impact beyond the shelter-in-place orders. Also, some of these new workflows create new possibilities. I talked to an architect yesterday who was saying that they had presented their first, kind of portfolio presentation over Zoom. Never thought that they'd ever do that, but instead of an in-person meeting, they invented a new way of presenting themselves and their firm. I also talked to an interior design firm last week who was able to invent new services that they could offer for a virtual walkthrough and virtual design charrettes, kind of pre-measurement. There's also a lot of opportunities that I think are there for us to do some office improvements. One of my clients is installing new bathrooms this week. Another one is doing new infrastructure stuff. So I think that's kind of cool. That's kind of the spirit with which I come in to talk about these topics today. I use the word mastery as part of the title for this talk, mastering work at home. And my idea of mastery is just kind of like, how do we move from survival to thriving in even the need to work at home, both as individual people and professionals and also as firms. But really, we all obviously have some solution in place. Some of us just took our laptops and ran out of the building. Some of us are doing remote access. But I think that there's an opportunity, especially because we don't know how long this season is going to last, for us to really up our game and refine. And so, some of these elements, I think, are that really high performance work experience drives productivity. Also, incremental things add up really quickly. So, we might be less efficient than we possibly can be if we're in the office with all of our coworkers and employees. But actually, if we improve the communication aspect and the drawing aspect and the collaboration aspect and the project management aspect, if we can make incremental improvements in all those areas, we're going to see, significant value and improvement. Also, there's been some short-term costs related to this work from home, everything from buying new laptops, new webcams, upgrading the internet. I really think if we look at firmfuls of folks that can't work and the hourly rates, it's really not going to take much longer than an hour of productivity gains to pay for things like more expensive internet or more monitors. So I like to remind clients of that. And also that kind of short-term IT and infrastructure improvements do have long-term ROI. And then also, I think there's two more opportunities here, which is really an opportunity to look at disaster planning and business continuity planning for the future. And lastly, to kind of prepare for what happens after shelter in place. How do we take time to think about how to zoom out of when our offices reopen and move forward with strength? So planning for that now is, I think, a great mindset, and it's really worth time for principals and firm owners to be thinking about that. Okay, so any questions so far, Rohit?
Nope.
Okay, so I want to talk next about kind of what I have seen are the main workflow options that people are taking advantage of. The first one is high performance remote control of the office computers from home. So whether that's on a personal computer or a company laptop, we're actually remote controlling the machines that are in the office. And we're finding that's really the best solution for certain types of applications. We're also doing a lot of VPN remote access to the network and to the server. That can be done kind of all day, every day. It can also be done as needed throughout the week. Several of our clients that have certain conditions have taken their computers home. And And then we're also seeing a lot of people of just kind of doing file management, getting project files off of the server and working at home. And then really importantly, I think it's essential to maximize the use of cloud technologies. What we're seeing is web-based project management tools, chat and communication tools, maybe that you would never have needed before. There's an opportunity here to really improve your internal communication and collaboration and scheduling and task management just by using cheap or free tools. Also, Bluebeam has taken on front and center. They're offering a nice 90-day trial for Windows and Mac for everybody. So if you haven't availed yourself of that yet, we highly recommend it around drawings and markup. And also, a lot of people forgot their phone system at the start. And so, definitely seeing people work on phone line forwarding, or what we call cloud voice platforms. So I like to say, if your phone system isn't serving you well during COVID-19, it's probably time to get a new phone system or phone solution. So be happy to answer questions on that later. Okay. So the first thing, and you guys may have read some articles on this. I know it's kind of all over the internet and my social media, is how to work comfortably and successfully at home. I actually include these in my technical aspect because the desk and chair are really essential. Lighting and music, even drinks and snacks, notebooks, notepads, tools. I have one notepad for work stuff, one notepad for personal stuff. And then the essential aspect of taking breaks, is really, really important for us all. Sometimes I'm sitting down at work at 7 a.m. because I can. I don't have to get to the office at 9, and I'm working till 6 p.m. And I need to be careful to take breaks. But I think that improves all of the productivity of the rest of my day when I take breaks and take care. Next, this is really the first kind of technical piece that has some tips, and I want to talk through these carefully, and also acknowledge that there's a lot of variety here. Not everything is going to be applicable to everyone on the webinar, but really this is where the bang for the buck comes in terms of making a so-so experience better, making a bad experience tolerable, making a good experience great. So first of all is computer power, just the level of machine that you're using at home. We had several clients that were, employees were using 5, 6, 10-year-old laptops or desktops at home trying to do work, and it's just a non-starter. So we've definitely seen the world of laptops, the sale of laptops accelerate, but also we've done a lot of new computers in the last 6 weeks, and we definitely recommend getting as high performance as you can. The other thing is that multiple monitors. Almost all of our clients have multiple monitors at the office. My strong suggestion is that if you haven't already done so, that you go grab a monitor or two from the office and attach it to your laptop or home desktop. It's very clear that productivity is enhanced when you have different monitors for different tasks. I use my primary task in the middle, my communication task on my left monitor, and my kind of research task on my right monitor. Also, internet provider bandwidth at home is really important. So the experience for us as working at home users, it's all about download speed. And so we've had several people be able to successfully increase their Comcast home or their AT&T home or their Sonic home internet. I would also highly recommend that you consider updating your home router if it's greater than 3 years old, say. Router technology is a lot more high performance now. Also, if you have some of the higher end internet packages like Sonic is doing in the Bay Area with 1,000 megabit to the house, most routers older than 2 years old even can't handle that high speed. So you'll be limited to the router, not to your internet connection. Also, this one is maybe, it's not contentious, but it might be the hardest to do at home, is that we actually highly recommend wired internet at home instead of wireless to the computers. So I have a wire running across my my dining room floor where I'm set up in my home office is in my dining room table, but I have a cable running from my router straight to my my machine here that I'm presenting on, just so I can get the best performance. If you're going to use wireless, definitely recommend new modern wireless routers at home. You get a lot more throughput. Also, I'd like to recommend, I call that a high quality audio hockey puck. So I'm going to show it here. This is a Jabra device. This is what I'm speaking on. I don't have a headset on, and the sound test that I've done, I think I sound pretty good. It's a noise canceling thing. This thing costs just a little bit more than $100, and it sounds a lot better than my laptop speaker or my laptop microphone. So really lets me work hands-free and headset-free as I have meetings every day, all day. Also, printing alternatives are an issue at home. Most of us have home printers of one sort or another, but we've seen some of our clients going ahead to buy a couple of you know, larger format inkjet printers in order to be able to get output at home that they would usually get at work. It's certainly not worth moving the home computer or the home, sorry, it's certainly not worth the office computer home, but sometimes you got to print. Also, I highly recommend coordinating with your other family members about bandwidth use. One of my teenagers was using their PS4 and it was taking up my bandwidth for a Zoom meeting. Others are you know, watching Netflix. You know, if you can make some coordination around time. Any questions at this point, Rohit?
None so far.
Okay. Definitely feel free to ask questions as we go. All right, so then kind of tech mastery at the office. Not surprising, internet provider types is a key issue, and a lot of our clients have fiber or Comcast, coax, or various kinds of copper. We've also done about, I want to say, 5 different internet provider upgrades in the last 6 weeks, either adding an additional high-speed connection, upgrading from the same vendor, or adding a new vendor, kind of necessity. And it might be that your office internet connection is totally fine when you have only 2 or 3 people working remote, but when you have 100% of your firm working remote, we're definitely recommending the higher speed, the better. And where at home, download speed is the key, at the office, upload bandwidth is the key. So 250 megabits down and 5 megabits up is going to be problematic if you're trying to have more than 2 or 3 people working remotely. Also, similar issue at home routers, the office firewalls really need to be high performance in order to take advantage of managing VPN connections remotely. In order for them to manage the traffic coming into the office and out, you know, I would say anything older than 4 years old should probably be upgraded. Also, VPN technology, we definitely recommend hardware VPN instead of software VPN. And then this next line is about high performance remote control. And this is actually tools like TeamViewer, Splashtop, LogMeIn. There are several others. What we're finding is that the best user experience for remote workers is happening with remote control tools that are installed in the office and installed at home. And that lets you establish through the internet connection directly to the machine. Instead of all of the data for your drawings and models and, files being transmitted over the internet, it's just a picture that's being changed and just the keystrokes. So basically the machines in the office do the heavy lifting. We're also have good solutions for Windows Remote Desktop and also Mac to Mac screen sharing. So remote control really for AutoCAD is the biggest bang for the buck. I'm seeing some questions there, Rohit.
So one question I answered, which was about the audio device, the hockey puck device. It's Jabra.
Yeah.
The other one, there's a comment from Richard about LogMeIn as being listed as a biggest threat or a risk by SonicWall.
Yeah. LogMeIn is kind of third or fourth on our list right now. They're a web intermediary and they have a software that installs on both sides. Security hasn't been one of our biggest issues with LogMeIn. Honestly, performance and price has been the biggest issues. So LogMeIn Pro is better than LogMeIn Central. But what we're finding is that TeamViewer is the most high performance one of those class of tools. The other thing that you can do is kind of optimize your screen resolution of the office computer. So you might have a 4K monitor at the office. You don't really need that for remote work to be productive. And if you cut your resolution down to say 1080p or even less, especially if you have multiple monitors, you'll find that the remote work is a lot higher performance. Also, you can change the color settings on your screen from millions down to thousands or hundred, especially if you're doing drawing. The subtle differences in shades of red, blue, and green and yellow are not essential. And those two settings right there are really big bang for the buck on the remote control experience. And definitely don't want you to forget your phone system. We had a couple clients that were, putting in their email signature, you can't reach us by phone. So if you need a new phone solution right now, and even fax, I've actually set up several digital fax solutions in the last 6 weeks. If you need something like that, recommendations, we'll be happy to make some of those in that space. Also, an interesting opportunity, and I credit one of my clients, Julie, for thinking of it first. They rent 2 large format plotters and a copier from a well-known printing vendor. And, that vendor was willing to negotiate reduced fees for a number of months during the work from home, since really that equipment is sitting at the office doing nothing for the most part. So, okay. Next one is architecture specific tools. And Rohit, I was going to have you talk through this slide, just kind of some power tips for these different tools.
Sure. So I've had a lot of experience with AutoCAD, and I was with the AutoCAD team at Autodesk. So we used to do a few of these things that you can see on the slide. For AutoCAD specific, we were remoting into our systems. Of course, we were on the same network, but we would still turn off hardware acceleration on the server machine where the AutoCAD software was running. Alternatively, you can use VNC if you don't want to use remote desktop to access that. But yeah, turning off hardware acceleration will speed up things. For Revit, we recommend, if you're talking to your Revit server, the central file, by reducing the work sharing update time interval, under options, you can go there and reduce that time. You can set up your Save to central to be manual, and then you definitely need to talk to your team that who's going to do save to central and coordinate that. Otherwise, if you understand how Revit works, if one person is saving to central, the other person will have to wait in queue.
Hmm.
So communication is the key there.
Yeah, I would also mention the BIM 360 at this point. I mean, that's kind of
Yes,
our first and foremost recommendation is the best Revit.
definitely. So for people who have the subscription, please take advantage of BIM 360 because it manages all these things for you, and it doesn't even rely on VPN. You can directly use your full internet bandwidth to be doing that. So BIM 360 is the way to go. Um, the other things, ArchiCAD has a BIM server which works very well. So and then Slack is a free software that you should all be using and taking advantage of. SketchUp, uh, the one thing to remember about SketchUp, you cannot work it remotely. You can't use remote desktop because it needs hardware acceleration, which basically translates to you will need to install it on your home machine. And it needs a substantial video card to be able to run this. So something that you should look for. Um, Software licensing, make sure that you have taken advantage of the offerings from Autodesk right now. They are offering you free home licensing, so take advantage of that. So obviously you need a license for the office, but you can install it on your home machine as well. The other thing you can do is borrow licenses. That really helps. And then if you're not really using it, return it back so that other colleagues can use that. And take advantage of the trial offers being offered by Autodesk and Bluebeam as of now.
Yeah, they're both offering 90-day trials to everyone for including BIM 360. So if you're not already a BIM 360 customer or only part of your team is, you can get a 90-day trial of BIM 360 without expectation that you'll have to continue with it or commit forever. And Bluebeam, I think, quite generously as well. Companies like Adobe and Microsoft are offering training courses for free as kind of learn at home, but no free software right now. Okay, so let us know if you have questions in this category as we go. And then the next slide is kind of cloud tools. And I think in 3 weeks, we're going to be doing a whole webinar on kind of the best cloud tools for architects, especially highlighting some project management ones. But I wanted to just put a bunch of brands on the slide for you guys today, and I'm gonna email you guys a copy of my slides in a PDF. Anybody that's here. Also, AIA SF is recording this for us so that we can share a video of it afterwards if you'd like to listen again. But kind of in the cloud categories, the thing that's first and foremost on everybody's mind is video conferencing. You know, we really recommend video calls for almost every interaction. Anytime I'm talking to any one of the people in my team, I'm starting a video call. And really the darling of COVID-19, almost the Kleenex of video conferencing, facial tissue, as it were, is Zoom. Zoom meetings has gone from 10 million daily users in December to 200 million daily users in March, and now 300 million users in April, which is pretty astounding. Also, I think as long as you do the best practices and security for Zoom, you're going to be fine, which is adding a password to your meeting and have people knock in the lobby door when they arrive to meetings. Also, Google Meet is a fantastic platform. If you're on the Google Suite already, that's included, for no extra cost. Google has offered 6 months of their advanced Google Meet features for free through September. So if you're already on the Google platform, that's worth looking at. Microsoft has a Microsoft Teams app They also have Skype for Business, which is kind of going away. And one of the classics is GoToMeeting. WebEx is also out there. But really, highly recommend these tools. If you're already set up in one, great. Zoom is free for meetings under 40 minutes. And it just costs 15 bucks a month if you want to have a couple of accounts for the firm. Also, as Rohit was mentioning before, Slack, that's really in the category of instant messaging. And what we do in our company is that we have a company-wide set of channels, everything from staff meetings to what do you want to have for lunch, to HR, to projects. And then we also have project-specific channels for discussion. And we're able to share files and answer questions there. It's really fantastic. Microsoft Teams works beautifully with Outlook Calendar and also video meetings, as well as project documents as well. For document authoring and collaboratively so, we recommend Google Drive using Google Docs, Google Spreadsheets. Microsoft Office 365 also has some cloud authoring of classic Microsoft documents, but not quite as elegant and simultaneous as Google handles it. Confluence is another great tool for document authoring that we recommend. In the project management space, we're looking at Asana, Trello, Jira, Mavenlink. There's really dozens and dozens of these tools out there, but these are, I think, 4 that are particularly well suited for architecture projects. And what we're finding is that even if you have an existing project management method that's tried and true, whether it's yellow pads or spreadsheets or team meetings or whiteboards, we're finding that, or Microsoft Project, we're finding that these cloud-based tools just really transform things when you're working remotely. And then file sync and share. The big players in the architecture space, I think, for this are Ignite. ShareFile is another one that I didn't put on there. Also Google Drive. What I don't put on this list is Dropbox.com. My company, I like to say that if you try to use AutoCAD on Dropbox, over time, 100% of people will have problems. It's just not a good platform for Revit or AutoCAD or QuickBooks for that matter. That said, Dropbox does have a few good uses, but we don't really recommend it as a core tool for file sync and share for architects. Also, one of the things that's happening for kind of in this downturn or unknown, is this going to be a recession or not? CRM tools, CRM stands for customer relationship management, but it's basically sales and marketing management tools. We're seeing a lot of our clients give a lot of extra energy to marketing and sales efforts. Initially, we all didn't know how this would play out, how the economy as a whole would be impacted. But I'm happy to report that across the board, I mean, I'm currently working with about 50 architecture firms on a monthly basis. I have pretty positive reports. Everybody is impacted, certainly, but a few firms are growing, a few firms have laid off a few folks and hired back a few folks after they got the PPP program. So, I think kind of selling through the problem or, business development through this downturn is one of the key strategies to ensure survival and then even growth after this is over. So tools like Salesforce, Zoho, and Harvest are really good for this. Harvest is a great one for time tracking if you're a small firm and you don't have an elaborate timesheet system. I highly recommend Harvest. For cloud backup, we recommend in the office a very elaborate hardware and software and cloud backup platform. But for home users and laptops for principals, we recommend a cloud backup tool that is fully managed. A couple that we like for home use are Backblaze and Carbonite. Apple also has their Time Machine solution, which is really kind of a physical attached drive as well as cloud. And then in the cloud voice and fax space, we like Citracom, Phone.com is a great one, and RingCentral. Also, Zoom has added a phone system feature in the last few months, so that's an interesting emerging player. Any questions in this space, Rohit?
None so far.
Okay.
Well, there's just one question which came through. Allison is asking if you mentioned Dropbox limitations. What are your thoughts on Box.com?
Yeah, we like Box.com fine, especially from a security space. It's much better than Dropbox. It really is difficult to do XREF and anything of the sort with Box. And so for any of these tools, if you're going to be using AutoCAD, we'd more likely recommend the new AutoCAD cloud offering, which I'm not even sure what it's called. It's just coming out. They've changed the name of their cloud tools about 20 times in the last 5 years. So, AutoCAD specifically, I recommend, for collaborating, I recommend the Autodesk tool. For Revit, BIM 360. But as far as managing documents, you just want to be really careful with anything that's a database when you use these file sync and share tools. We've seen a lot of corruption happen when multiple people try to open or save changes on AutoCAD. So Box is fine as long as you're moving the files and using a workflow that is appropriate to your team's needs.
Right. To add, especially for Revit, it's a bad idea to use Box or Dropbox, especially for the central files. It'll corrupt sooner or later.
Yeah. Like I said, 100% of the time we have problems. Not every day, not every file, but 100% of the firms that we work with have had problems with Dropbox. So, such that we don't recommend it. Okay. So I think this might be my second to last slide. And then we're going to do Q&A. For work at home security stuff, I think, actually, probably the third bullet point is the most important. We recommend that your home computers that you're using for work gotta have antivirus, especially if you're connecting to the Office VPN. Gotta have Windows updates being installed, every week, every month. Security and health of the machines is an absolute must. But also, we've seen a dramatic increase in COVID-19 scams, both from email and websites. I even saw yesterday a coronavirus detection software that you could install on your computer, which of course, there is no such computer virus. It's a human virus, but people are going for it. Texts, dramatic increase in, instant messaging and text scams. Typically, if you visit CNN.com, and that's a totally legitimate site, and you click on one of their advertisers, and you see some other interesting content, and very soon, if you're down the line, you get to some disreputable advertisers on this kind of browsing the web chain, and you'll find false pop-ups, Microsoft's alerting that's not real. There's also emails trying to scam business owners to apply for government programs, unemployment scam emails that I've seen. We're also seeing phishing email scams on the rise. I saw a perfect Facebook spoof website. One was the real Facebook, and one was a fraud, and they were collecting your username and password. So you just got to be careful to check the websites that you're on. And this is more of an opportunistic time by the bad guys than it is, you know, something uniquely about working at home. But this is the time and place where we're dealing with it. And then the fourth bullet point there is having to do with backup needs. We're recommending, if you have a laptop that you're using every day, all day for work, whether or not it's personal or company owned, that it should have a backup solution in place. Personal backups should be controlled by, you know, people, not the company. But if it's a firm-owned laptop or desktop, we're recommending having backup software on that. Even though we might not recommend it when we're all working in the office, kind of in the work from home era, we're finding that is a real important thing to have, and it's saved our butts a couple times. So let me double check. Yeah, so how about any other questions? I want to go through a couple other topics and highlight what's coming up as well.
Yeah, no, no new questions yet.
Okay. Yeah, I hope this has been helpful. I think, like I said at the beginning, we've been all making do by some way, form, or another, and the opportunity that we have now to kind of take our work from home game up to another level is great. I think that there's improvements possible for each of us. You know, even my chair, my first week's chair was adequate, but by the end of the first week, I needed a better chair, right? My monitor solution was okay in the first week, and then I needed more monitors for the second week as we got settled in. So a couple of the
there's a new question.
Okay.
Specific home antivirus software that you recommend for home PC?
Great question. I like Avast. Symantec is a classic one if you get the antivirus only. There's also WebRoot. Those are three really good ones. Some people look for the best free antivirus. I kind of go for the, you know, bang for the buck in terms of affordability there. You know, you're looking about $50 per year for a good antivirus, and you know, they're doing you a service, so I think you know it's worth paying for. It's a product worth it.
On the Mac side, I use Malwarebytes personally.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Malwarebytes is great. That's really great, and a tool for finding, you know, kind of non-virus but suspicious settings and other things. Yeah. Okay, so if you missed at the beginning of the session, the outline for the next 5 weeks. Next week, we're going to talk specifically about cybersecurity for architects. Again, I'm going to talk about how to understand cybersecurity and cyber threats. We've kind of organized all of cyber threats into 5 categories, and I'm going to give you guys a list of strategies, both proactive and reactive, that are, I think, the best bang for the buck. On the 13th, we're going to talk about CAD BIM for working at home and collaborating in remote work. Cloud technologies is going to be the focus of the 21st, and then backup and disaster planning is going to be the focus on the 27th. Is there another question, Rohit?
No, not yet.
Oh, I saw something pop on my screen. I thought, no. Okay. Rohit and I are available. You can email us at dave@arcsource.com or rohit@arcsource.com. We'd love to answer further questions, be of a resource to you. Happy to have a call about anything that we've discussed today. With anyone, just send me an email. Yeah, like I said, we love to help architecture firms use technology so that they can focus on what they do best. And
Dave, here's another question for
okay.
you. Sorry to interrupt,
Yep.
but I think this is going to be relevant to a lot of people.
Okay.
Mike Matson asks that in terms of internet service, the download speed is a key, but our experience is that a standard 5 Mbps upload is inadequate to push files out through VPN to the office network. Can
That's
you
right.
further elaborate?
Yeah, so I 100% agree that five out of the office is inadequate, especially for a firm of Mike's size. But really 5 would be the bottom end for a very small office. And so I can give a little bit more context there. I would say right now the best of the best is going to be fiber. There's fiber offerings in the Bay Area from not only Comcast, but also companies called Sonic, Paxio, AT&T. Basically, Sonic is offering 1,000 megabits. Comcast is offering 1,000 megabits. They're all offering, but usually it starts at about 100 megabits and then it steps up for 250. Most business fiber is going to be symmetrical, which means same download and upload speeds, and that will be, you know, if I had to pick one size now for a minimum, I would pick a 100 megabit upload if I could possibly get it. There's also what might be called enterprise class copper internet circuits, which used to be, you know, the ancestors of those were T1 lines. Now there's bundled T1s, copper over Ethernet. It's possible to get symmetric performance up to 250 megabit. Another option is kind of in San Francisco and the East Bay is there's some wireless, kind of microwave wireless solutions that if you're in the right location can be pretty high performance. In San Francisco, especially south of Market, it's rooftop to rooftop line of sight network. Very powerful stuff and pretty affordable. I think that the cost of fiber is coming down, so you know that's what I'm looking forward to at my office. But high-end fiber costs are going to be $3,000 a month for that 1,000 megabit, unless you're Sonic. Sonic's offering cheaper.
So Mike's question also says, pertains to the home service. I think this is a limitation to home service. Yeah.
So for home internet, the best thing going there is going to be the highest end Comcast possible, the highest end AT&T DSL, and if you're lucky enough to have home fiber, a lot of Berkeley, parts of Oakland, Emeryville, and a lot of San Francisco, all the new developments are offering fiber to the house or to the condo. And so, you know, home fiber is going to be well worth it. I'm pretty amazed by how good it is where I live. And so I would, if at all possible, seek to get 25 megabits from Comcast at home if you could.
And that's 25 upload speed.
Yeah. Usually the 25 will be bundled with like a 300 megabit download.
Yeah.
So
a typical home service is, you have a lot of bandwidth down because you're streaming Netflix and YouTube and stuff. But the upload speed is what hits you, because when you're trying to, like in a situation like this Zoom call, you are sending a lot of data out. And if two people at home are having a Zoom call, that's when you'll see the problems, or trying to do an RDP session.
Mm-hmm.
So
That's
yeah,
right.
The upload speed is the important one here.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. Other questions?
No, that's it for now.
Okay. Yeah, I really want to thank everybody for coming out. I hope it's been valuable. Like I said, eager to have conversations about this. We'll be PDFing these slides and sending them out to you. A few people had to go early. A few people told me that they couldn't make it, but they really wanted to. So, I think that this time is right for talking about topics like this. How do we make the technology side of design firms really shine right now? And it's partly of necessity, but it's also an opportunity to really take things to the next level. So yeah, I mean, Rohit and I will hang out here with David as well from Arcsource for a bit longer. If there's more questions, feel free to send them along. Otherwise, I wish everybody a great day. I did not get to eat my lunch yet because I was talking the whole time, but I hope you all were able to enjoy a bite while you hopefully learn some good info. So I'll sign off and say thanks everybody for coming.
Thank you, everyone.
Yep.